Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. We have our Saturday preview to take care of for Week 16 in the Indoor Football League. And boy, let me tell you, the playoff implications, they are abound in this week. And we have to talk about all of them. Well, at least just 4 of them in this game. Every team's playing this weekend, but we got 8 of them playing today. And then we move on from there. So let's go take a look at preview number 1. All right, preview number 1. And when I say playoffs, playoff scenarios and everything like that aplenty, this is probably one of the biggest ones of the weekend. Not the biggest one, but maybe the one for Saturday. We got the 7-6 Fishers Freight, 3-3 on the road, taking on the 10-2 Green Bay Blizzard, 7-0 at home. And yeah, this one has some really, really big playoff implications in the sense of seeding. And obviously Fishers needing a win here to keep pace with Tulsa and Orlando within the 3 and 4 spot of the Eastern Conference. When it comes to seeding, for Green Bay, needing this victory and everything like that to further cement themselves as the number 1 seed as they are right now in the East. And that's going to, a victory today is only going to further do that. So if they beat Fishers, drops them to 7-7, and you've already clinched a playoff spot, but that further cements you. You have 11 wins, and then you're sitting at five losses for Orlando and Tulsa, and then however their games go. So again, a lot of implications when it comes to this. We got a 5 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on Yahoo Sports. It should be a really, really fun game. They've already met twice this season, so this is the final one between the two. Season leaders. For both sides, Felix Harper, your leading passer for the Freight, 129 of 184, 1,313 passing yards, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Liam Thompson on the other side for Green Bay, 137 of 230, 1,745 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. In the rushing category, Dominic Roberto, 107 rushing attempts, 547 rushing yards, and 19 rushing touchdowns. And for Green Bay, it's that Liam Thompson guy again, but 107 rushing attempts, 441 rushing yards, and 16 rushing touchdowns. The dude has been really, really good rushing and passing, and totaling almost 60 touchdowns between the two, at 57. So he'll eclipse 60 total in this game, I'm sure. Receiving leaders: C.J. Wyndham, 40 catches, 400 yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns. And on the other side for Green Bay, Drayshawn Hudson, 35 catches, 532 yards, and 9 receiving touchdowns. We take a look at our injury report, and we're playing a little bit of catch up from last week to this week. Remember, the rosters weren't here in time for me to do the previews and stuff like that, so kind of catching up a little bit when it comes to this. For Fishers, not too much to report from the last couple of weeks. That's kind of status quo. But on the other side, for Green Bay, they've got a couple of other guys on season injured reserve, which it dates back a little bit. But for right now, I'm only including the top 3, because then we have 3 on the short term, including Allen Henry, who was added just earlier this week. So with that, we still have a couple of guys, season injured reserve: Frankie West, Delvin Salter, Terrell Carey, and what have you, along with DeMylan Brown and Sylvia Campbell. So Green Bay getting hit with the injury bug, not at the best time, but it seems like every year Green Bay always gets hit with the injury bug, and they get quite a few guys on season injured reserve as the season goes along. I think it happened either last year or the year before that, where they were a pretty big mash unit as well. Game odds presented by DraftKings here for this game, minus 2.5 for Green Bay at home. Remind you, they are undefeated at home at 7-0, and this is their final home game of the year. But minus 2.5, that's kind of a low total, dare I say. We have an over-under of 93.5, so we're expecting points in this one. And then plus 124 to the money line for the Freight, minus 148 for Green Bay at home for the money line if you want to bet them straight up of who you just think is going to win, regardless of spread or points. Game information: we are at the Resch Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Again, 5 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on Yahoo Sports. And last but not least, our series head-to-head favors the Blizzard 3-1, and their last victory came Week 8, or last victory against Fishers came Week 8, 2026, where they won 57-52. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Green Bay, their 2 losses are to Quad City, and that's it. So Green Bay, when they played Fishers earlier in the year before Week 8, they also pulled out that victory too. So this is an opportunity for the Blizzard to complete the season sweep of the Fishers Freight and go 3-0 against them, which, you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would not have believed you, but strange things happen, man. So that's where we kind of carry it on with this one. We still have a lot more to take care of. We need to take care of our 25-man roster and our bet and prediction. We have 3 more previews to take care of after that, so let's go take care of them. All right, taking a look at the 25-man rosters as they are on the screen in front of us. As we take a look at the away side first, for the Fishers Freight, quarterbacks Felix Harper and Davis Black. Harper most likely going to be the starter, Davis Black being your backup. Running backs include Dominic Roberto and Josiah King. To be honest, I'm pretty sure Josiah King will be the starter, and then Dominic Roberto will either play or be the backup. I think he got last week off, and it was kind of the Josiah King show, so we'll see how that kind of goes, if it's the same thing, or if they get both running backs to play at the same time, as they've pretty much done all season. Wide receivers include Isaiah Coulter, CJ Wyndham, Jordan Davis, and Jaron McGaugh. Jordan Davis has had to step up, and he's done pretty well doing that with Coulter and Wyndham in tow. Wyndham obviously still being the leading receiver, but with JT Stokes on injured reserve, they've had to replace him. Jordan Davis has been that guy. Jaron McGaugh, nice kick returns and stuff like that as well, so wide receiving core showing out. Offensive line includes Cordell Brewster, LaQuinston Sharp, Jeremiah Rogers, and Navon Donaldson. And kind of the same thing here. If you had to place a bet, probably Brewster, Sharp, and Donaldson to be the guys, with Rogers being the super sub. It's kind of how it's been with injuries, no injuries or anything. Bringing in Brewster, stuff along those lines. Defensively, Jalen Swan, Leon Smalls, Nicholas Lennon, and Darius Long to round it out. Again, if we're going back to how it was kind of the beginning to the middle of the season, Swan, Smalls, and Long will be your starters. Nicholas Lennon, he has gotten in on special teams. He's gotten in to spell the defensive line and have guys take breathers. I expect all 4 of them to suit up, go from there. Linebackers Cornelius Montgomery, and barring anything different, he will be your linebacker unless they need a defensive secondary player to drop down into that spot, but it's probably Montgomery's good to go. And then in that secondary, Donnie Lewis, Drake Johnson, Renaria Dilworth, Jaden Rowe, Ja'Cory Benjamin, and Devin Williams. So 6 guys vying for 4 spots to start. Your guess is as good as mine, because they will rotate guys, have a couple of guys on special teams, obviously some bench players and some depth and stuff like that. So we'll see how it pertains to that. And your kicker is Callum Sutherland, and that is your 25-man roster for your Fishers Freight. Over to the Green Bay side of things, Cole Stenstrom and Liam Thompson are your quarterbacks. Liam Thompson, your starter. Cole Stenstrom is your backup. It's how it's been all season. I don't see it change at this point. Running back is Kyrie Robinson. He's the only one on the roster, so he'll have to be the guy to go. And then in the wide receiving room, Drayshawn Hudson, Trayvon Alexander, Isaac Ross, and Jack Studer. Top 3 most likely your starters, with Jack Studer being your special teams guy, your 4th guy, taking place of anyone that needs a breather, needs a sub, or anything like that. Offensive line includes Jaime Navarro, Dakota White, Liam Wortman Liam Wortman II, Raheem Anderson II, and Andrew Carter. Again, if I had to wager a guess, probably Navarro, White, and Carter, because they have started, but Anderson has started too. Wortman has played, so we'll see how it kind of goes. But yeah, I know Carter's going to be an anchor on there, and Dakota White probably will be too. So take your pick on who the third one is. I think it'd be Navarro, but not shocked if Anderson gets to go. Defensive side of the ball here, Tavon Grant, Jonathan Ross, Brodarius Lewis, Jaquan Griffin, and Sean Mustin. So someone's probably going to have to take the place of Allen Henry. They have rotated guys here and there, and I got 5 on the defensive line. They sometimes suit up all 5 on the defensive line, so we'll see how that kind of goes. Most likely going to have Jonathan Ross or Tavon Grant. Sean Mustin's probably a mainstay, and then maybe Jaquan Griffin, maybe Brodarius Lewis. We'll see how it kind of goes. Linebackers include Brian Lee Jr. and Andre White. Again, my guess is probably Brian Lee Jr. Andre White has played. Obviously, he knows the system and stuff like that, being a former Green Bay Blizzard player. But, again, I think it's probably going to be Lee. Wouldn't shock me if White gets the start, or if he plays, does whatever. I mean, take your pick. And then in the secondary, Marcus Hillman, Dorian Davis, Fred Flavors, DeAndre Glover, and Najee Snyder. 5 guys, 4 spots. Someone's going to be the odd man out. Hillman has kind of stepped up, taking over some starting spots. Fred Flavors coming over from Vegas. We'll see if he gets into there at all. We'll see who the odd man out is when it comes to this. Last but not least, your kicker is Andrew Mevis, and that is your 25-man roster for your Green Bay Blizzard. That was your 25-man roster for your Fishers Freight. And with that, we need to go take a look at our bet and our prediction. And we got 3 more previews to take care of after that. All right, we need to talk bet and prediction for our first preview of the day. I'm going straight money line with Green Bay. I'm going minus 148. I know those are probably the longest odds. I think they are the longest odds on the board, but hear me out. If it's under 200 for the favorite, most of the time I'm probably going to take them. And a lot of this hinges too on, obviously Green Bay has a better team just based on record. They're also undefeated at home. They've also beaten Fishers multiple times. So can you beat a team 3 times in a season? Some can, some can't. So I'm not going to necessarily know. And plus I'm betting on Green Bay, so yes, they can. But in all actuality, I think Green Bay, who was, I think, on a bye week last week, being able to come out and have a week to get healthy, have a week to, get where they need to be for this final playoff push. This is an opportunity for them to finally make a case again of we are the best team in the league. We are the best team in the East at least. And what we can do is we've already beaten you multiple times. We're going to prove it again. I'm not necessarily sold on this spread because plus 2.5 means that Fisher's going to have one hell of a game. I think Green Bay is the better team here, man. I truly, truly do. The offense has been playing really well, even though, DeMylan Brown's been hurt for a while. That has not stopped Kyrie Robinson from running. It hasn't stopped Liam Thompson from running. And the wide receivers, well, again, you can say Drayshawn Hudson is the leading receiver in terms of yardage. I would almost contest that there is no true quote-unquote wide receiver 1 for Green Bay because they're all playing really well. You can throw Hudson out there. You can throw Trayvon Alexander out there. You can throw Isaac Ross out there because they're all playing really well. They all have their roles and how they go about it. Even Jack Studer does as well. Defensively for Green Bay, too, being able to get after the quarterback and stop this running game that Fishers has, we know what Fishers does. They run the ball. They'll try and throw it on you when they try and lull you to sleep. They'll do pop passes. They'll throw it deep on you when you least expect it. They'll test you a couple of times throughout the game. I think Thompson and company are just a little more even keel when it comes to that. We've seen the losses that Fishers has accrued. I don't know if I trust that. If you're able to kind of shut down or get that running game on its heels, you have a good chance of winning this one. On the other side, when you look at the Fishers offense, it is that running game. Can you get Josiah King and Dominic Roberto going? Can you get Felix Harper going in this 3-headed running attack enough to open up the passing game? As we talked, JT Stokes is a big loss, but Jordan Davis has stepped up in the last couple of weeks with that injury. He has been able to kind of make a name for himself. Again, CJ Wyndham is your wide receiver 1, but I also put it in the same category. I don't know if Fishers has a true wide receiver 1 because Wyndham's played well. Coulter's played well. Jordan Davis is stepping up and bringing back in Jaron McGaw to be your return specialist and the guy that, the fourth guy if they have to go empty set or whatever, which they might throw King or Roberto out there if they have to. We'll see how it kind of goes because we know that Fishers can throw it, but they'd prefer to run it. So I'd almost kind of take the under in here too. If both teams are going to run the ball, we'll see how well Kyrie Robinson and Liam Thompson run it and how well, but that doesn't stop the scoring because the defenses still leave a little bit to be desired. On the flip side, though, it's Fishers' defense. How does Fishers' defense go? We'll see because Fishers' defense has been susceptible, but they have been able to shut teams down. Look what they did against Iowa. Yes, it's Iowa, but for some of the games that they've gotten into, they were able to get a 1-point victory against Arizona and hold Arizona to 36 points. So we'll see how that kind of goes. My prediction for this one, though, 42-40 in favor of Green Bay. Like I said, throw the spread out. I don't know. It should be a close game. But for all intents and purposes, I truly think Green Bay is the superior team in this one. Am I shocked if Fishers pulls the upset? Honestly, a little bit, but not to the point where I'm just like, oh my God, upset of the year. It's more or less like they played their game, and Green Bay couldn't stop them. Unless it's like a huge blowout, like 63-42 or something like that, then that's where the shock comes in. But for the most part, can Fishers' defense get after the offense of Green Bay? Are you able to put pressure on Liam Thompson and able to get him uncomfortable? Can you get him off of his reads? Can you get him in that running game kind of pushed back? How are you going to be able to combat that? And that's something I want to look at too. Because like I said, I think it's a very even balanced offense. They will use tempo. They will use a mixture of run and pass. We know what Fishers is capable of doing on their offensive side of the ball. But for the most part, we know that Green Bay is very, very balanced when it comes to that. So it remains to be seen, but that's the reason I'm taking Green Bay is they're very even. They don't let a lot get to them. Their only 2 losses are to a team not named Fishers. So I'm going to take all those trends and bundle it up into this. So minus 148 to the money line, 42-40 in favor of the Blizzard. With that, we need to go take a look at preview number 2. All right, preview number 2. Again, more playoff implications, seedings, and stuff like that for one of the teams in this one. We've got the 7-5 Tulsa Oilers, 3-3 on the road, taking on the 1-11 Iowa Barnstormers, who are 1-4 at home. Iowa eliminated from playoff contention. They just 1-11 is just not going to cut it for you. The best they can do is 5-11. Tulsa sitting at the 4 seed right now with 7 wins, so nothing that they can do to get into a playoff spot. But for Tulsa, a victory here has the opportunity to leapfrog them over Orlando. Orlando's going to play on Sunday, so Orlando could leapfrog them right back just based on strength of schedule or however the tiebreakers are going to work, which, hey, Indoor Football League, it's me again. Nice to meet you. Please, just release the tiebreakers. Stop being shady with it and just put it on a little picture and just slam it into your socials. Simple as that, right? So, either way. 8 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on overnight between these two teams. They've met prior. This will be another meeting between the two, and we go from there. Season leaders, TJ Edwards for the Oilers, 182 of 286, 1,925 passing yards, 42 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Dante Avila Santos, 43 of 83, 519 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Rushing leaders for both sides, TJ Edwards, your leading rusher and passer, 117 rushing attempts, 382 yards, and 14 rushing touchdowns. I think he beats Caleb Ramseur by like 1 or 2 yards. So they're kind of neck and neck when it comes to rushing leaders. So it could be different next week on who the leading rusher is for Tulsa. For the Barnstormers, it's David Elder, 78 carries, 336 rushing yards, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Now, again, something I want to point out here is TJ Edwards has been Tulsa's quarterback the entire season. He's got 382 yards. Nothing to sneeze at, and he's done well. But David Elder, 336 yards, and he joined Iowa like partway through the season, and even then he didn't really start starting until lately. So to have that many rushing yards and everything like that, I keep saying this. Next season, re-sign him, whatever the hell it takes, because he has been a catalyst for that offense. Receiving leaders, Jermaine Smith. I think he's leading the Triple Crown in terms of receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Could be mistaken. Don't quote me. 78 catches, 857 yards, and 24 touchdowns. So I think the only one that might be different would be touchdowns, but I know he's leading at least in yardage, and pretty damn sure he's leading in receptions. So he's really good. That's all I'm gonna say. DeMonte Martin takes over as a leading receiver for the Barnstormers, 32 catches, 387 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. Taking a look at the injury report here for both sides. For the Oilers, one addition here in the last couple of weeks. Landon Burton, the offensive lineman, has been added. We'll see how that kind of affects the 25-man roster. Plot twist, not too much. So, yeah, it sucks that he's still added there, but again, they can make do with it. For the Barnstormers side of things, there's really nothing new to add from last week to this week. Kind of the same thing, so they're kind of rolling through it. Game odds presented by DraftKings here. We have minus 20.5 for Tulsa on the road, plus 20.5 for Iowa at home. And yeah, the records, completely different records. Iowa has had a lot of trouble scoring and giving up points and stuff like that, so there's a reason. Over-under of 82.5, so some points, low to moderate amount of points here. And then for the money line, minus 1350 and plus 800 if you want Iowa as the home upset for some, $10 bet gets you $80. So there you go. We're at the Casey Center in Des Moines, Iowa. Again, kickoff time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on overnight. And our series head-to-head, 6-1 in favor of the Oilers. Tulsa only getting that one victory. It wasn't the last time they met, though. Week 12, Tulsa blew them out, 63-29. Iowa has just been, they've been competitive in some games, but as of late, they just have not been super competitive. Obviously, we got more of the preview to take care of, so we'll see how that kind of pertains to this. But overall, we'll see if they can somehow pull the upset and make this series head-to-head 6-2. Or if Tulsa goes 7-1 against the Barnstormers. But with that, we need to go take a look at those 25-man rosters. We need to go take a look at our bet and our prediction with that, and we're halfway through our previews for our Saturday slate. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they are on the screen in front of us. For the away side, first, the Tulsa Oilers quarterback situation. It's TJ Edwards and vaunted kick returner, Draylon Ellis. Now we'll see if he returns any kicks or anything like that. And Like I said, he's not the only quarterback. Clifton McDowell, when he was with him, he was on the special teams and everything like that too. So we'll see if it's more of the same. Edwards, most likely going to be your starter barring anything weird. Running backs include Caleb Ramseur, and re-signing for another little playoff run, I assume, is Jawan Johnson. He was part of the running game last season, so another go-around with him. We'll see if he adds anything, if he even suits up, and how they kind of go about it when it comes to that running back spot. But again, my money is probably on Caleb Ramseur, but I mean this with the utmost sincerity. If you're going to play Jawan Johnson against Iowa and give Caleb Ramseur a breather, does not shock me. Wide receivers include Jermaine Smith, TJ Davis, Keatron Jackson Jr., and Cassian Foreman. My best guess is Smith, Davis, and Foreman are going to be your starters, with Jackson being the backup or the sub. We'll see how that kind of goes, because Jackson did play pretty well in their previous game, and kind of just take it from there. And I don't really have a clue. Besides Jermaine Smith and probably TJ Davis, the other two, take your pick on who you get starting. Offensive line includes Terrence McClain, Brandon Baldwin, Justin Redd, and Dejon Carroll. I would assume it's the top three. I don't remember the last time Carroll has played in a game, but Terrence McClain might suit up as a wide receiver since he caught that touchdown last week, so how it kind of goes. But I'm kidding. It'll be McClain, Baldwin, and Redd most likely. Carroll might get in there, but again, we'll see. Defensively, Stephen Parker, Nusi Milani, John McMullen, and new signing Craig Evans. So coming in from that, we'll see if he suits up and plays. If he starts at least, he'll probably suit up. But Parker, Milani, and McMullen, they played pretty well in their game last week. Craig Evans might just provide more depth when it comes to that. Linebackers include Trinelius Tatum and Marquez Bembry, Tatum being most likely the starter. Bembry is suited up. He has played. He will play defensive line if he needs to. He'll do what he needs to do. We'll see how it goes. But my money is on Tatum being the starter. Secondary includes Tariq Bracy, Alfonso Taylor, Justin Harrington, Mark Shepard, Frederick Millay, and Trey Harvey. Take your pick, man. They've all balled out at multiple points throughout the season. Bracy's played well. Alfonso Taylor's had a game where he's looked good. Harrington's had interceptions in games where he's looked good. Shepard and Millay had a touchdown last week. Trey Harvey had a pick six. So for all intents and purposes, take your pick. It doesn't matter. They're all good. So 4 of them are going to start. 2 of them are going to be subs. If they even suit up, we'll see how it goes. Kicker's Axel Perez, and that's your 25-man roster for your Tulsa Oilers. Over to the Iowa side of things, Noah Bodden and Dante Avila Santos are your quarterbacks for Iowa. Avila Santos going to be your starter. Noah Bodden going to be your backup, barring anything different. Running backs include David Elder and Najee Bryant-Lele. Again, Elder's going to be the starter. Bryant-Lele will be the backup if he suits up. It's been a long time since I think I've seen him actually suited up. He's worn the jersey on the sidelines. I don't know if he's played in a long time. Wide receivers include DeMonte Martin, Joshua Simmons, and Curtis Ravenel. At that linebacker spot there on the bottom portion, Jalal Dean, they have him listed as a linebacker. He was a wide receiver with Quad City, so I'll probably bump him back up there when I get the opportunity to, but I don't think it's going to be 3 of them. So Jalal Dean will probably suit up as that 4th wide receiver, and we go from there. Offensive line includes Tyler Castaneda, McLean Doja, Deontay Graham, Robert Malcolm, and John McKinney. Again, it's probably going to be Castaneda, Doja, and Graham, but Malcolm, the former Northern Arizona Wrangler, McKinney, he's played, he's started, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, take your kind of pick how they want to go about it. I'm guessing Castaneda and Doja are your 2 anchors, and we'll see how it goes for that 3rd spot. Defensively, Ravonte Blau, Byron Mathis, Jakari Larman, and Daniel Williams. Williams being a new signee as well. We'll see if that's just more added depth, if it's going to be Blau, Mathis, and Larman as your starters, and Williams as a backup. Linebackers include Nathan Rosario Santos and the aforementioned Jalal Dean, so pretty much Santos is to lose, with Jalal Dean being, again, most likely a wide receiver than anything. Secondary includes Trenton McGee, John Adams Jr., Trayvon Pope, Ryan Nixon, and Richie Coffey. Again, 4 spots for 5 guys. I think it's been Ryan Nixon has kind of been the odd man out, but I think he has played. We'll see how it kind of goes when it comes to that secondary, but for the most part, it's another one of those kind of take your pick things, but if I had to guess, Nixon probably the odd man out. Kicker is Jan Bogdan, who? Former Quad City kicker. He comes over from Quad City. He was on short-term injury reserve, and I guess the Steamwheelers just released him. So he is now over here with Iowa trying to solidify that kicking spot. So we'll see if he can. That's your 25-man roster for your Iowa Barnstormers. That was your 25-man roster for your Tulsa Oilers. And with that, we're going to go take a look at our bet and our prediction. And we move on to preview number 3 after that. All right, we need to talk bet and prediction for Tulsa and Iowa. I'm going minus 20.5 for the Oilers. Iowa, has not even like sniffed anything close to this spread, and it's sad, man. It truly is. And like the last 4 games, I've got the schedule. So the last 4 games here, they haven't come close. The closest they've come to something minus 20.5 or plus 20.5 has been losing 60 to 48. And that's the only time they've scored 40 points in this season. So as much grief as we've given San Antonio, Iowa deserves a lot of it, a lot of that too. When you look at the last 3 games against Orlando, against Quad City, and against Fishers, they've scored a total of 37 points. They've given up 50, 42, and 55, while scoring a total of 37 points. They've scored 7, 17, 13. Before that, they only scored 29. This has been a season from hell, amongst all the other seasons from hell that Iowa has endured in the last, 4 or 5 years. It's been bad. Tulsa, on the other hand, their back's not up against the wall, but it can be. And if they drop this game and Fishers goes on to beat Green Bay, or if Orlando wins tomorrow against Quad City, again, there's a lot of playoff implications that go with this. So Tulsa, right now, like I said, it's not playoff or bust mode right now, but you got to keep winning these games. And we've got a game for you right here where it's like, hey, take care of business, take your victory, head back to Tulsa. You're 8-5. You go from there. If Iowa wants to pull this victory, I don't really know if I have an answer on how they can. I don't. Everything that I've thought of, it's just repeating the same thing. You got to keep the game close, shorten the game, run the ball, do what you do, but I don't know what Iowa's offense is. I truly don't. I don't know what their offensive identity is. At one point, they looked like they wanted to run the ball, and now they're trying to be a balanced offense. I'm not really sure. So they've gone through backup quarterbacks. They've benched Avila Santos only to bring him back in. I don't know, man. And you look at Tulsa, they've been able to add to what they've done with their roster. Yes, they've got a couple of guys on short-term injury reserve with Kerrigan and I'm blanking on the other one. It's not Spencer Tiers, but you know what I mean. They brought in TJ Davis. They've brought in Jawan Johnson. Caleb Ramstewar's running really well. That offense looks really, really good. The secondary looks good. Look at what they've done in the last game, even with a pick 6 from Trey Harvey, Frederick Millay doing what he does on special teams. There you go, man. I think Tulsa is just a better team. I think any team that Iowa has played, dare I say that win against Quad City might have been a fluke. Who knows? But, yeah, I don't really know how to say it. I don't think Iowa's going to win this game, and if they do, they need to play the best game they've ever had, and that's even better than what they did against Quad City. My prediction for this one, 54-31, and that's giving Iowa too much credit. They have not scored more than 30 points in the last 4 games. 29 is the most. I don't know how it gets any different. The last game they played, 63-29 against Tulsa. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time believing somehow, some way that Iowa pulls this victory out, man. I'm sorry. I think the defense of Tulsa is too good. I think the offense of Tulsa is too good. They're in that playoff hunt right now. They do not want to be on the outside looking in if they drop this game. And then, Fishers goes on to win. They need to keep pace when it comes to this. Iowa's playing for pride. They've got nothing to lose. I get that. But I don't know. Sorry, I hit my desk. But minus David Elder, maybe Deontay Martin or DeMonte Martin. I don't know. Maybe Curtis Ravenel. I don't know who that go-to guy in offense is. I don't know who that stopping force is on the defense either. Is it in the secondary with John Adams? Is it Trayvon Pope? Is it, I haven't really seen too much of the linebacker and Rosario Santos. So I'm not sure. And that defensive line, it's been a little bit in flux, man. So I have a hard time thinking that Iowa has any opportunity to win this game. It's going to be another blowout in my opinion. And like I said, 54-31, I think is giving it a little bit too much more credit. I think Tulsa's going to take this one. So minus 20.5. I feel like I'm talking in circles when I say this. Minus 20.5. I think Tulsa takes the victory. 54-31 is the final. And we just go on from there, man. Like I said, it does not. It will shock me to my core if Iowa was able to pull this upset. And I mean that in full sincerity. I have no faith in it. So if you're a Barnstormers fan or player, coach, whoever watching this, prove me wrong, man. I do not have a lot of faith when it comes to that, man. I'm sorry. But I think Tulsa takes the one. I think they take it easily as well. I don't like doing this stuff or like calling my shot or being like, this team's way better. I just don't see it. I truly don't. Not in this one, at least. So that's where we have it with this. Let's go take a look at preview number 3. All right, we need to take a look at preview number 3. And this one, we get later into the night, some Western Conference matchups, IFL after dark, whatever you want to call it. This one no different, 4-8 for the San Antonio Gunslingers, 2-4 on the road, heading out to the desert to take on the Vegas Nighthawks, 9-3, 4-1 at home. 9 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on Yahoo Sports. So this one's going to be after the Fishers and Green Bay game, kind of your double header, how we kind of go on Yahoo. And again, when we talk playoff implications, aplenty for both of these. Vegas needing this victory to stay on pace with San Diego for that number 1 seed for obviously home playoff games and to create even further separation between them, Arizona, Tucson, things along those lines as the playoffs loom even larger when it comes to that. San Antonio absolutely needs this game to keep pace even just in the playoff hunt. They dropped to 9 losses. And you're not mathematically eliminated, but boy, howdy, do you need a lot of help depending on how Tucson goes with their games and how everything goes with that. So, a lot. Like I said, San Antonio's back up against the wall. It feels like they've been playing playoff football for a while in terms of are they going to be able to make it? Are they not? We'll see how it kind of goes. But, yeah, let's take a look at our season leaders for both sides. For San Antonio, Joaquin Collazo, 51 of 87, 624 yards, 9 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Jaden Delore for Vegas, 160 of 226, 1,972 passing yards, 43 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Zach Calzada, the other quarterback, your leading rusher, 17 attempts, 76 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. And Josh Tomas, let's see him right down there on season injured reserve. We'll talk about that in a minute. 145 rushing attempts, 602 rushing yards, and 19 rushing touchdowns. He's your leading rusher. He hasn't been cut from the team or anything like that, so he's still on here. Glenn Gibbons, your receiving leader, 35 catches, 502 receiving yards, and 10 receiving touchdowns. And Deshaun Stoudemire, 46 catches, 583 receiving yards, and 13 receiving touchdowns. Now, let's get to that injury report for both sides. Let's touch on San Antonio first. Nick Evans was on short-term injured reserve a little while ago. He got taken off. Now he's on season injured reserve, so his season is done unless somehow, some way they want to take their one guy, their one freebie, and take him off season injured reserve, which I don't necessarily see happening. Kobe Williams has been added as well, so again, just a little bit of depth being a hit for the Gunslingers when it comes to that. Otherwise, everything else kind of stays the same. For Vegas, Josh Tomas on season injured reserve. You'll be impressed to see who they got. My God, am I shocked if you haven't seen who it is yet. But yeah, his replacement, we'll talk about that in 1 second. And then Damon Williams has been added as well, so a little bit of a hit to that defensive line, but there have been some wholesale changes that the Nighthawks have made, so we'll talk all about that in 1 second. Game odds presented by DraftKings here for both sides, plus 16.5 on the road for San Antonio and minus 16.5 at home for Vegas. So a pretty decent-sized victory for them if it is in the cards for that spread. Over-under of 83.5 when it comes to the point total. They're expecting a decent amount of points, maybe not a lot for one side, maybe a little bit more for the other when you include that spread. Plus 550 for San Antonio if you think they're going to pull the upset on the road, and minus 800 for Vegas if you think they're going to take the victory at home. Our game information, 9 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, as aforementioned, and on Yahoo Sports. I'm sorry, my brain is starting to turn into mush, so my words are starting to slur and everything like that. But our series head-to-head, as we close out this segment, and I can take a drink of water after that. Our series head-to-head favors Vegas. They have not lost to San Antonio since San Antonio has entered the league a couple of years ago from the NAL. Their last meeting being Week 6 of this season, where they just kind of destroyed them, 62-36. We'll see if San Antonio can finally get on the board and pull an upset in this one, or if it's going to go 5-0 in favor of the Nighthawks. So, with that, we need to go take a look at those 25-man rosters that I keep referencing. We need to go take a look at our bet and our prediction. I need to go take a drink of water to wet my palate, and we just move on from there. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they are on the screen in front of us. Starting with the away side first, as we always do. For the San Antonio Gunslingers, your quarterback's going to be Zach Calzada and Joaquin Collazo. I don't see anything to the contrary where Collazo is going to take over the starting job, so I think it's Zach Calzada, unless further notified. So he will most likely get the start, and Collazo will be the backup. Wide receivers, there's no running backs or anything, but we do have your quasi-running back. We'll talk about him in one quick sec. Deion Cook, Glenn Gibbons, Deion McShane, Austin Upshaw, Derrick Rose, Zach Patterson, and Trent Hudson. Zach Patterson is the guy who normally kind of runs out there as your hybrid wide receiver running back combo, however you want to kind of put it. So we'll see if it's more of the same when it comes to that. Other than that, it's most likely Deion Cook, Glenn Gibbons, Austin Upshaw, Derrick Rose. Sometimes they have Hudson suit up, sometimes they have McShane, but I think it's been a couple of games since either of those guys have really put on the jersey, so we'll see how it goes. Offensive line includes AJ Vaipulu, Cameron Foster, Malik Williams, and Travion Newsome. If I had to wager a guess, Vaipulu and Malik Williams are going to be starters. I'm going to say Travion Newsome is going to be the other one. Cameron Foster did suit up and play special teams and things like that when they played their last game last week, so we'll see if it's more of the same with that. Defensively, Fealaga, Paletti, Octavius Oxendine, Terry Beckner Jr., and James Nemwaya to round out that defensive line. I'm going to guess it's those bottom three to get the start with Oxendine, Beckner, and Nemwaya. I believe Paletti did suit up and play, so we'll see if it's more of the same with that. Linebacker includes Kendry Gant, no backup for him, so he has to do that all by his lonesome, unless anyone in the secondary, decides they want to step up there too. And that includes Ravarius Rivers, Chris Chukwuneke, Marcus Floyd, Larry Brooks III, Dabari Hawkins, and Xavier Tolliver. There's 6 guys, 4 of them are going to start. My guess with Marcus Floyd coming back from short-term injured reserve, if he's good to go, he'll probably be the guy. Rivers, Chukwuneke, Floyd, and probably Brooks, but don't overlook Hawkins or anything like that as well. We'll just kind of see how they kind of go out on their first defensive snap. Kicker is Tyler Huddle, and that's your 25-man roster for your San Antonio Gunslingers. Over to the Vegas side of things, Jaden Delore and Quincy Crittenden are your quarterbacks. Antonio Wimbush is your running back. Like I mentioned, Josh Tomas goes out with a season-ending injury, and in comes Antonio Wimbush. Yeah, the rich get richer, baby. Wide receivers include Deshaun Stoudemire, Quentin Randolph, Seneca McKee, John Irby, and Jalen Tillman. No changes there either. Top 3 are probably going to be your starters with Stoudemire, Randolph, and McKee. We'll see how it kind of pertains to all of that. Offensive line, Christian Coulter, Sidney Walker, Zach Fortier, Charles Turner III, and Moses Mallory. Again, they've kind of switched it up a little bit on the offensive line. It's mainly been Coulter, Walker, and Moses Mallory. Turner's started. They've had Fortier suit up and play and stuff like that. So we'll see how they kind of, finagle that offensive line and how it kind of goes with it. But, I'm not sure. You got 5 guys, 3 of them are going to start. They'll probably suit one of them up. The other one probably will just kind of sit on the sidelines in some street clothes. Defense includes Cedric Wilcox, coming off of short-term injury reserve, Lorenzo Hernandez, Kevon Bennett, and Maurice Jackson. If I had to wager a guess, it's probably Hernandez, Bennett, and Jackson as your starters, with Wilcox coming back and maybe easing himself in, but not shocked if he does get the start. So we'll kind of monitor that, how that kind of goes, but I think all 4 of them are going to play at some point. Linebacker, Ian McBurrow is gone. Ahmad Walker is in, so we'll see how this goes. If you look here, you see a bunch of 1s in the experience, which means we have, it shouldn't be a bunch of 1s, but we do see that here. Ahmad Walker right there, and then Jamal Sam. We're going to the secondary already. Jamal Sam, LaTerrence Welch, Marvin Grant Jr., Angelo Gross, Terry Roberts, Ershad Davis. So 6 players, 4 of them are going to start. My best guess is Gross, Roberts, and Ershad Davis because they are carried over from last week to this week, but Sam, Welch, and Grant Jr., we will see how that kind of pertains to what they want to do in that secondary and how they kind of want to go about it, because this is a lot of turnover. We know Vegas has lost a couple of games, so not necessarily cleaning house, but maybe dropping the dead weight. I'm not necessarily sure. We'll see how it goes with this one. It's just one game. See how it kind of goes. Kicker is Gabriel Rui. That's your 25-man roster for your Vegas Nighthawks. That was your 25-man roster for your San Antonio Gunslingers. And with that, you're going to take a look at our bet and our prediction. We got our final preview to take care of after that. All right, we need to talk bet and prediction for San Antonio and Vegas. Don't overcomplicate it. -16.5 for the Vegas Nighthawks. Now, there is concern in that secondary and at that linebacker spot. But if the blueprint has been set for attacking Zach Calzada, which is what Tulsa did last week, you just blitz him. I mean, he looked like a deer in a headlight. I mean, simple as that. Throwing off of his back foot, he did not look good. And I don't know if it's just a one-game thing, because he looked really good against New Mexico. So this one could be the litmus test. You're going up against the defending champs, the defending IFL Cup champs, whatever you want to call it. And yes, they've made changes on the defensive side of the ball, but it'll be up to that defensive line of Vegas, which that's where the experience is, to get after the quarterback and make him uncomfortable, and then how the linebacker does blitzing and stopping that run if they even choose to run the ball, or how many times they choose to run the ball. San Antonio's offense, as we've said, is your kind of Northern Arizona, Bay Area, San Diego of years past, where they don't have a true running back. They're going to run empty sets. They're going to run Zach Patterson as your running back if they have to. Otherwise, it's up to Zach Calzada to scramble or do any sort of quarterback-designed runs and how it kind of goes. I don't know if that plays into Vegas' hands, obviously, with the transactions that they've made, but it's not like they've taken their entire secondary and thrown it in the trash. They still have Angelo Gross, who's got a couple of games under his belt. They still have Terry Roberts. They still have Rashad Davis. So some of those guys are going to go up against their wide receiver ones, wide receiver twos, things like that. Trenches, there have been some changes on that offensive side of the ball on the offensive line for San Antonio in the last couple of weeks. We'll see if Vegas can attack that. On the other side, when you look at San Antonio's defense, that looks decent. It looks good. How that defensive line, can they get after Jaden DeLora? How does Antonio Wimbush factor? It doesn't even look like they're going to lose a step, because Wimbush can run, he can receive, he can return kicks. I mean, he's really I asked this question in the preseason: is Josh Tomas going to be the new Antonio Wimbush? Is Antonio Wimbush going to be the new Josh Tomas with how the transactions have have perspired here? So yeah, it's not like they're not even going to miss a step when it comes to that. The receivers should be right where they leave off: Stoudemire, Randolph, things like that. So it's going to be up to Riverius Rivers. It's going to be up to Marcus Floyd or to Larry Brooks or Chris Chukwuneke. Can they shut down that passing game? And then you have to take care of Jaden DeLora. Can Kendrick Gant put pressure on him and make him be inaccurate? We know Vegas has dropped a couple of games. They are susceptible. But this is an opportunity right now for Vegas to kind of get right. I'm not necessarily calling this a get-right game, but you saw what Tulsa did to San Antonio. Yes, Vegas has lost a couple of games, but at the same time, they've played close. They've won all these other games. They've got 9 wins. They've clinched a playoff spot. That's one of the reasons I'm taking minus 16.5. My prediction for this one too: 56-30. It's a 26-point victory. We're talking minus 16.5. They have to win by 17 points. Yes, that's doable to cover that spread if you are San Antonio. However, I just think there's too much firepower on both sides of the ball. Where it could get a little sticky is maybe late in the game, you have some of that rookie performance that kind of goes by the wayside, a little bit of laziness, a little bit of whatever, and you got a little bit of a backdoor cover if you are San Antonio. But I think Vegas should be able to take care of business in this one, get their 10th win. They are at home. They've been really good at home. And San Antonio overall, I'm curious to see how they pick themselves back up after their loss to Tulsa. Because like I said, at one point, Tulsa was winning that game 40-7. They made the score look a little bit respectable, but at the same time, Tulsa still was the more dominant team. I kind of expected to be here. So overall, that's where I kind of have it with this. I think Vegas' offense is going to be a little too good. Now, it might be a little bit of a slow start as we get things going, because I think San Antonio's defense will want to come out aggressive and try and plant their flag. But I think once Vegas really starts getting that offense in motion, and once that defense really starts to get their feet underneath them, I think there's an opportunity that Vegas could pull out here late. But there could be an opportunity for San Antonio to do a backdoor cover. But overall, I think the talent obviously is better for Vegas. It all just kind of hinges on Zach Calzada. And he's had one game where he looks really good. He's had one game where he looks really not so good. So we'll see how that one goes. Is he somewhere in the middle in this one? Is he be like game manager style? How does that manage? So is he going to be more of that everything on my shoulders, I'm going to take off and run when I need to? We'll see how it kind of goes. But that's where we have it. 56-30 in favor of Vegas, minus 16.5 on the spread. I think Vegas has this one kind of comfortably, but San Antonio will see if they put up a fight. Can they score 40? We'll see what that goes. But until then, we'll figure it out. Let's go take a look. Preview number 4. All right, final preview for our Saturday action. Again, playoff implications in this one as well, but not nearly as important as some of the other games that we've talked about. We got the 2-10 New Mexico Chupacabras, 0-5 on the road, taking on the 7-5 Arizona Rattlers, 5-1 at home. Again, it's very important for Arizona as New Mexico has been eliminated from playoff contention, so it all is kind of on Arizona here. Now, how this goes is Arizona needs this victory just to keep pace, and they still have the outside shot of getting a home playoff spot, but it's going to require a lot of losses from either San Diego or Vegas, which Vegas has lost a couple of games, but Arizona's lost quite a bit more. So if they do drop this game and Vegas takes a victory, then it's really, really bleak for you to get a home playoff spot. So we'll see how that kind of goes. We got a 10 p.m. Eastern time kickoff, which, it's on overnight as well. But what I want to talk about here is the time, because on the Indoor Football League website, it says 9 p.m., but on, I think, DraftKings, I think it showed 10 p.m., and I think it was 10 p.m., earlier in the season, so I don't know when the time change happened. So I still have 10 p.m. right here, but just make sure you check your clocks and check the schedules and everything accordingly, because my time might be mixed up on this one, and that's fine. But yeah, I don't want to set you guys, an hour later going, hey, it's actually at this time. So make sure you're checking, because just because I put all this information out, I still have to double check it and everything too, and sometimes I slip up. So that's what I have. We'll see how it goes. Taking a look at our season leaders here, Donovan Portieri, 64 of 114 for the Chupacabras, 594 passing yards, 9 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Max Myler, still the leading rusher and passer for this team, 101 of 155, 1,150 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Leading rusher for the Chupacabras, LaJames White, 107 attempts, 306 rushing yards, and 9 rushing touchdowns. And again, Max Myler, 58 attempts, 262 rushing yards, and 11 rushing touchdowns. For our leaders in the receiving category, Demond Street, 49 catches, 494 receiving yards, and 11 receiving touchdowns. And Arlen Bruce, 63 catches, 779 receiving yards, and 12 receiving touchdowns. Taking a look here at our injury report for both teams, we have a couple of updates for New Mexico. Kaiwan McCray has been added to the short-term injured reserve, and John Washington has been downgraded from short-term to season injured reserve. So another player done for the year. That adds 3 right there. For the Rattlers, they have just one addition, with Trey Dixon being put right back on short-term injured reserve. They've had a couple of guys come off of short-term injured reserve, a couple of guys, it's kind of been a mash unit in the last couple of weeks here. You can see that, the 17th, 18th with Lundy and Kinney, Trey Dixon, everything like that. But they have gotten a little bit of health. I'll talk about that in the 25-man roster. But overall, yeah, they have taken a little bit of a beating throughout the season. Taking a look at the game odds here for both sides, presented by DraftKings. Minus 21.5 for the Arizona Rattlers, plus 21.5 for the Road Warriors, who are the New Mexico Chupacabras, and we have an over/under of 79.5. So Vegas, the casino, not throwing a lot of points either way, and if there are some points, most of them are going to Arizona. Moneyline plus 900 for New Mexico and minus 1,600 for Arizona at home. That's just a huge points spread odd. Game information, we're at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Again, I have 10 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Make sure you're checking if you are in Arizona, New Mexico, or you want to watch. Look at your time zone. Look at your TV guide. Look at whatever. I don't care. I'm trying to do what I need to do, and I will even be checking the time, but still. 10 p.m. Eastern, that's what I have. It could be 9 p.m. Eastern on overnight, so make sure you got the subscription with that too. The good old twofer. Our series head-to-head. 11-0. This dates back to the Duke City days. 11-0 in favor of the Rattlers. Duke City, New Mexico has not beaten Arizona in their entire franchise history, including all the way back to Week 10. So just a couple weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, 61-15. Just absolute obliteration. I think that was in the Indoor Football League Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's been a minute. So, yeah, we'll see if New Mexico can somehow pull off one of the best upsets that we have ever seen, or if it's more status quo and it's 12-0 in favor of the Rattlers. So that's where we have it with this. Let's go take a look at our 25-man roster and our bet and prediction. We'll wrap up. We'll get out of here. All right, taking a look at the 25-man rosters as they are on the screen in front of us. For the away side first, and the New Mexico Chupacabras, Von Rucker and Donovan Portieri are going to be your quarterbacks. My money is on Portieri to be the starter. I'm not shocked if Rucker gets the start. They've played quarterback roulette practically the entire season, so nothing will faze me at this point. Running backs include LeJames White and Walter Wilbon III. LeJames White's going to be the guy. Wilbon will be your kick returner. Wilbon has already returned kicks, 4 touchdowns, but he doesn't really play the running back spot. So I think on very rare occasions does he, and it's probably more the same with that. Wide receivers include Arthur Jackson III, Demond Street, Isaiah Crocker, and Keyshawn Johnson. I expect all 4 of them to suit up. It's probably going to be Jackson, Street, and maybe Johnson as the starters. Crocker, I don't think started in the last game, but he did play, so maybe it's more of the same. Offensive line includes Isaiah Silliman, Roderick Williams, Jake Sines, and Ryan Franz. Roderick Williams is off of short-term injury reserve. We'll see if they ease him back into it, if he starts, if he doesn't. But it's mainly been Silliman, Sines, and Franz as your starting 3. Defensive line, no depth there as well, or no depth compared to the offensive line. Allen Love, Keandre Hall, Luke Kelly. But again, linebacker position, Marvin Pierre, Jamal Thompson, and Cameron Bright. Pierre's most likely going to drop down to the defensive line if they need someone to get a breather. Cameron Bright's most likely going to be your starter at the linebacker spot. And Jamal Thompson, he's there. he plays. He suits up and does special teams and stuff. He'll get into the game if he needs to. Otherwise, they kind of just maintain it as that. In the secondary, James Ussery, Greg Dent Jr., Jasius Clark, Gleason Spreewell, Jalen Stratford, and Jordan Whitley. The other thing, too, Greg Dent, he could bump up there to that wide receiver spot as well. He did that last week, too. If they need him to do it, wouldn't shock me if they have him do that again. And then it's Clark, Spreewell, Stratford, and Whitley as your secondary players. Ussery or Sari, however you want to pronounce it, could be there as your super sub. We'll kind of see, Greg Dent kind of being the jack of all trades when it comes to that. He did that in Duke City. He's done that now here in New Mexico. So, kickers Kevin Macias, and that's your 25-man roster for your New Mexico Chupacabras. Over to the Arizona side of things, Drew Powell and Max Myler are your quarterbacks. Drew Powell's going to be the starter unless otherwise notified. Max Myler's going to be the backup. We'll see how it goes. And like I said, it's more of the same here, but this might be the week that Drew Powell or Ron Brown or someone like that usurps Max Myler as the leading rusher or passer. Remains to be seen. We'll find out. Running backs include Kaimani Clark and Ron Brown Jr. Brown's going to be the starter. Clark, I don't think, suited up in their last game, so we'll see if he does in this one to add more firepower to that running attack. Wide receivers include Trey Odoms-Dukes, Corey Reed Jr., Arlen Bruce IV, and Jaden Horace. So again, 4 of those guys, 3 of them are going to start. Reed, Bruce, Odoms-Dukes. Horace, if he suits up, it's going to be that super sub kind of guy. Offensive line includes Gerald Mincy, Jake Parks, Q McBroom, Christopher Strotter. It's going to be Mincy, Parks, and Strotter. McBroom does play, but he was kind of on the special teams and things like that. So if I had placed my bet, Mincy, Parks, and Strotter as the starting offensive line. To the defensive line, John Pius, Carson Taylor, Joshua Ellison, and Jalen Bass. This one's going to be kind of weird because they might throw Hayden Hatcher down there on the defensive line, but with added depth there, it could be Pius, Taylor, and Bass because they have all started. Ellison has had stints on and off of short-term injured reserve, so having him back into the lineup could benefit. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Linebackers include Hayden Hatcher and Don Willis. So again, if Hatcher drops down to that defensive line spot, Willis is most likely going to be the starter at linebacker, which I honestly think might happen. Hatcher might not start at the defensive line, but he can either play linebacker, defensive line. He might be that kind of jack of all trades too on the Arizona side. Secondary includes Jermaine Dobbs, Devontae Merriweather, Yasin McKee, Kobe Rome, Otjo So, and Carl DeCius. Kobe Rome coming off a short-term injured reserve. We'll see if they kind of ease him into it. Otherwise, your best look is probably Dobbs, Merriweather, McKee, and DeCius, with So being your special teams, super sub, whatever you want it to be. So overall, that's how you kind of take it. Kicker is Matthew Cook. That's your 25-man roster for your Arizona Rattlers. That was your 25-man roster for your New Mexico Chupacabras. And with that, we need to go take a look at our final bet and prediction of the preview. And we wrap it up. We get out of here. All right, we need to talk bet and prediction for our final preview of the evening. Minus 21.5 for the Rattlers. It's kind of going back to the preview that we did with Iowa and Tulsa. I have no faith in New Mexico. They've already let go of their coach, or he resigned, whatever one you want to take. Either way, coach is gone. They did get their victory against Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona then promptly let go of their coach. So maybe if New Mexico beats Arizona, Kevin Guy is gone. I'm just kidding. No, I don't have any faith. I'm sorry. Now, Arizona does have some things that they need to address offensively and defensively. They don't have to do that against New Mexico. I'm sorry. It's the same thing. I don't really have anything nice to necessarily say about New Mexico. The quarterback position has been in flux. They haven't played bad necessarily. Portieri is doing as well as he can. Rucker in the limited amount of time he's shown, the offense as a whole could be a lot better. And obviously you saw that with Jerome Johnson under center until he went on his merry way to Tucson. But with what they have, Arthur Jackson looks good. Isaiah Crocker looks good. Keyshawn Johnson's been signed. He looks good. Damon Street, obviously he's your leading receiver. LaJames White, he's your leading rusher. So it's like they do have pieces. That offensive line has definitely solidified itself. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It is serviceable. There's nothing that excites me about the offense, though. They're a good set of players, but there's nothing to me that's going to set it aside as of right now. It's like, that's the guy I want to sign for 2027. It's not like a David Elder. Like, LaJames White's fine, but I just don't see him necessarily being the guy next year. Arthur Jackson, kind of the same thing. He's bounced around from San Diego over here. He's been all right, but when you look at, Jalen Sample, Dallas Daniels, whoever on there, it's like Jackson was good, but can he get back to what he was when he was at San Diego? Damon Street, again, kind of a little bit of a breakout, being kind of that rookie kind of guy, but at the same time, nothing really jumps off the page yet. Sorry. On the defensive side, again, it's stayed consistent, and the defense did only give up 32 points to Northern Arizona, but at the same time, they're getting scored on like crazy. If the offense isn't scoring points and they're always out there, the defense is going to get tired. So, on the Arizona side, I think the offense has better firepower. I think the defense has better firepower. It's not going to be a replication of what happened in the IFL Cup matchup, but at the same time, I still feel like that dominance is going to be there. My prediction for this one, 58-31. And again, that might be giving New Mexico a little bit too much credit. Sometimes they score 30 points. Sometimes they score 11. Sometimes they score in the teens. It kind of depends. I think Arizona is going to be pissed off with how their season has kind of gone. And being at 7-5 right now, they don't want Tucson breathing down their neck. They want to win this game. They want an opportunity to host a playoff game and get as close as they can. They're going to need some help. But a win like this can kind of, get you in that spot to do it. Unfortunately, you have a team like Vegas playing San Antonio, so unless there's upsets that happen, it might stay status quo for a little bit. But to this game, like I said, if New Mexico is to pull this upset, a lot has to go wrong for Arizona. And things have gone wrong, but not everything has gone wrong for Arizona. So I think they're going to pull out this victory when it comes to that. Yes, they need to win by more than 3 touchdowns, but I think it is doable. Now, it depends on how Arizona wants to go about it. Do they want to run the ball, kind of kill the clock a little bit, and kind of just get out of here with a victory and say we did it? Or do they want to put their foot on the gas and kind of prove any doubters or anything wrong when it comes to this? I'm not sure. Same thing on the defensive side of the ball. Are they going to shut down the wide receivers and the running attack and everything like that of New Mexico and just kind of flex their muscle, show their worth? Who knows? Or it could be something where New Mexico is actually able to find a way to gain some yards, maybe backdoor cover in a sense, and go about that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Arizona has a far superior roster. I think the coaching obviously is there too. I think they take this one pretty big. So 58-31, minus 21.5. That's where we have it. Let's wrap up. Let's get out of here. And that is it for our preview of Saturday's Week 16 action. I know I'm getting this one out really, really late because kickoff is here in about 30 minutes or so for Green Bay and Fishers. So apologies to all the Green Bay and Fishers people that will have to watch this preview later. If it's accurate or not, who knows? But at the same time, just life gets in the way. So that's where we kind of have it with everything. I'll make it short and sweet with this one. We still have more action to talk about when it comes to the Sunday slate. We have 3 games to talk about, and then we move on towards the 4th of July and everything like that. So if you want to like, comment, share, subscribe, go from there, and we'll just keep on trucking along when it comes to Week 16. More playoff actions. We'll get the recaps and everything out with standings, playoffs, everything and anything included, the writers' poll, and everything along those lines. So until then, I'll catch you guys in the next preview. I'll catch you guys in all the recaps, and we move closer towards the end of the regular season. And then we got Indoor Football League playoff action to take care of. But until then, catch you guys in those videos. See ya.